Okay, guys, hello, welcome to my new video. I'm gonna do a different video today. I'm gonna do about predictions about the Senate and the House. I mean, not the House, but the Senate. Anyway, I did one video before. Seemed like I was half drunk and half asleep in that one, which I instantly collapsed shortly after finishing the video. Anyway, now I'm well rested now. Alabama. Now let's start off with Alabama. As we know, Alabama is probably the race next to Colorado, in which I'll be watching very closely. We're trying to see if Doug Jones will get a full first term. Now, as we know, due to Roy Moore's sexual advancement of little girls allegations, he lost, albeit by a close margin. However, now, despite everyone, including the president, saying, "Don't run, don't run, don't run," he is running. Um, Now let's look at the candidates. We know Doug Jones is running, but now he has a challenger named John Rogers, who's a state representative. Yeah, honestly, I don't see him having much of a chance. But I cannot accurately predict Alabama since it has no party affiliation votes. So we'll see. In Republican primary, it's a crowded field so far. Shannon Adair, businessman who, in my opinion, has no chance. Bradley Byrne, the incumbent representative for Alabama's first congressional district. John Merrill, the Secretary of State, Alabama. Mooney, the state representative. Roy Moore, no introduction needed. And Tommy Tuberville, head coach of a school that shall not be named. Alabama forever. Anyway, oh, I just lost his courage. I'm pretty sure about that. Anyway, the potential of these, Robert Alhart. Well, I mean, the majority of these are people who said, who usually comes up. First of all, there are many errors with this. For instance, see, Robert J. Bentley, he was former governor of Alabama, but he resigned due to a sex, to him having an affair and turned to a whole blown scandal, and he accepted a plea deal to not be charged with the crime if he does not run for public office ever again. So he's automatically disqualified. He's that because Lee Busby, who was the former chief of staff of John Kelly, who actually ran a strong writing campaign. KRV, the incumbent out of Alabama. I don't know about that. Jeff Sessions, former U.S. Attorney General and U.S. Senator. Now, he's actually said that he's not running for his seat, so that he should be in the decline column. Now, Will Ainsworth, the Lieutenant Governor of Alabama, Mo Brooks, and these are decline candidates, mind you. Hello Whitestone, Farm Miss America, Dale Marsh, Matt Gates. Why was Matt Gates considered a potential candidate? I mean, he's not even from the state. The guy's not even from the state, so why is he being considered a formidable candidate anyway? Mo Brooks, I'm surprised he did not jump into the race because, to be honest, I really did expect that Mo Brooks would jump into the race, and more than likely, if if Moore had in the race, be the Republican nominee. Let's just look. Okay, so Arm Mooney apparently has more uh name recognition than probably ever because Gaston Mooney, who's the founder of Blame Media, is actually his son. Mention and Tom Tubal, he got endorsement Sean Spicer. Sean, why, Sean, why? In fact, polling was done. In fact, with polling. In fact, the most recent poll, like Signal, which was taken a month ago in June, shown. See, Alabama has this law where you need 50% of the vote in order to win, in order to avoid runoff. Now, considering the crowd feel and a lot of name recognition and all that stuff. Now, hold on, guys. I'll be right back. I have do. Okay, as we are back anyway, Tommy Tuville and Bradley Byrne in the most recent polling, mind you, are the top two contenders with 22% undecided vote. Folks, we literally have about, I say, 1 year exactly until we find out who's the Republican nominee. Polling's gonna be all over the place. Now, runoff polling, Bill's Bradley Byrne, Gary Palmer. Uh, we're not gonna even look into this poll because I don't think Gary Palmer's even running, is he? Well, he's a bit, but 40% of the population never heard of them. So yeah, we're not even gonna look at that. If Mo Brooks had ran, more than likely, Roy Moore would lose double digits. Yeah, like let's keep an eye on that. Okay, so in the state of Arizona, now a complex seat with a very complex story. As you know, John McCain died about 3 months before election, or the election to a seat not held by him. Basically, here's the thing. John McCain died on August 25th. Doug Ducey was required by law. He was required to fill the seat. And now he appointed Senator John Kyle, who was replaced by Jeff Flake when he retired from the Senate in 2018 because John Kyle retired. Jeff Flake won the seat, and blah blah blah. Basically, until the special election, November 2020, John Kyle was expected to you know serve out his full serve out the remainder of his term until the special election. Then Doug Ducey, basically he resigned. Kyle resigned on New Year's Eve 2018. 2 weeks before that, Doug Ducey announced that outgoing U.S. Representative Martha McSally would be appointed to fill the seat because it was weird that McSally just came off losing narrowly to Kirsten Sinema in that election earlier that year. So but basically Sinema and McSally are both the two in charge. So now let's look at the Republican primary because anything can happen. Now Ann Griffin, a former teacher who has no name recognition at all, she doesn't have a chance. But McSally is such somewhat of an unpopular figure that people are actually going to potentially challenge her. Among those, Kirk Adams, who is the incoming chief of staff to Governor Ducey, and who is former Speaker of the Arizona House of Representatives. In fact, I remember I did predict. In fact, I'm surprised that the governor didn't pick him to serve on a Capitol Hill because he's probably the most qualified candidate out of this entire list. Literally, he's known statewide. He's the chief of staff to the governor. It makes sense to appoint him, right? Really, I mean, you should. Joe Arpaio, no introduction needed. Fife Symington and former governor of Arizona. These are all Republicans, so these three people could challenge him. But Martin does have one bright spot. She has an endorsement from the president, who won the state in 2016. Democratic primary, basically, Mark Kelly is the. A lot of people thought that it's going to be a competitive primary between him and Ruben Gallagher. Mark Kelly, barring any sort of unforeseen challenge, will more likely be the Democrats' nominee come 2020, since since he's the only person with name recognition. Now, a lot of people probably was hoping for a competitive primary between him and Gallagher. Grant Woods, who was actually a Democrat, but he was a chief of staff to Senator McCain, to the late Senator McCain. He declined to run, which probably would have been one of the greatest competitive battles of all time. As you see here, the list with Mark Kelly goes on and on and on. Let's look at the general election polling. As we know, every single source, Cook Political Reports, Ceballos, Cristobal, and Inside Legends rate this race as a TOSSUP, a toss-up. And two polling, even though they're from February and May, have this race, as we see, extremely close. One poll had McSally up by 2, one poll had McSally up by just 1, with 10% on the side. So anything is possible. Anything is possible for Arizona. So we need to wait and see. Colorado, I really don't want to have to say anything about this race because we all know that Cory Gardner is going to lose. Because come on, I mean, it's the only reason he won 2014 because Mark Ewald, if I'm not mistaken, spent a lot of his time about on abortion, not issues like healthcare or something like that. Anyway, the Democrat field is going to be crowded with names like Dan Baer, who some fancy office, Mike Johnston, who was candidate for governor in 2018, lost the primary to Jared Polis, now the incumbent governor, who's now governor of the state of Colorado. Alice Madden, who was former majority leader of the Colorado House of Representatives. Andrew Romanoff, who was the former Speaker of the Colorado House of Representatives, who was a candidate in 2010 for the Senate, and who was nominated to go up against Mike Coffman in 2014, and, of course, lost. Then you have John F. Ross, the former U.S. Attorney for the District of Colorado, and Angela Williams, the state senator. Now, the Secretary of State, and currently Gina Griswold, is exploring a bid. There's so many potential races. Now, John Hickenlooper, listen, for the Senate, I swear you will build up name recognition instantly. Just don't. And by the way, here's why it's gonna be such a tight race for Cory Gardner. Because he's a Democrat in the state that Donald Trump lost. Not to mention that color has gone so blue to the point where with Democrats one have a Democrat trifecta in the state. Now Georgia, two cluster. Anyway, I can swear all I want because frankly, we don't have 1,000 subscribers to meet the the amount needed so I can get money. So, oh, fuck it. Iowa. Now this state is kind of weird because the incumbent is so popular, but the president not so much in Iowa. More specifically, the number one thing that will be an issue are the tariffs he's instituted. As we know, tariffs have hurt the farmers. Iowa is a big farming center. Anyway, the race is going to be very crowded, we believe. Teresa Greenfield, who was candidate for Iowa's 3rd Congressional District, along with Eddie Morrow, who was also a candidate for Iowa's 3rd District. But frankly, they need more people like, for instance, they need Chet Culver, Amy Finkenauer, Rob Hogg, Lee Mass, and Steve Warnstedt. Steve Warnstedt, who's an intelligence, the former state senator and intelligence officer in the Iowa Army National Guard. Rob Sand, Iowa State Auditor. Liz Mathis, state senator. Rob Hogg, also state senator. Evan Finkenauer, who is incumbent representative for Iowa's 1st Congressional District and former member of the House of Representatives in Iowa, and Chet Cutler, who is former governor of Iowa. Now, granted, I would have liked Tom Vilsack to run, but he declined to run because, frankly, Tom Vilsack would have had the best name recognition because he was not only former governor of Iowa, he was actually former United States Secretary of Agriculture under the Obama administration. In my opinion, Robert Slant would be the best option with Democrats. He's young and he has name written. Now, as we see here, polling is too early. It was taken in April, but as we see here, these two candidates that declared don't have a damn chance. Anyway, let's go to this. We all saw this coming. Probably because one thing is certain. Let's look at the Republican primary. As we see here, it's going to be a competitive race. So many people could jump in the race, but let's just focus on the Democrat one. Chris Kobach. We saw Jake LaTurn, David Lindstrom. Jake LaTurn, who's the state treasurer, to the incumbent state treasurer. David Lindstrom, who was the board chairman for the Kansas Turnpike Authority. I don't know. Susan and who's also a former Kansas City Chiefs player, and Susan Wagner, president of the Kansas Senate. Now, Jeff Colyer could run, which I really hope he does, because he could be who's former governor of Kansas. I really just hope he runs, because we could be seeing a rematch between him and Chris Kobach. Frankly, if Republicans nominate Chris Kobach, oh yeah, he was head of Trump's voter fraud commission. We all saw how that went down. He didn't find a damn single evidence of voter fraud. His former secretary, Chris Kobach, lost to a Democrat in the state of Kansas, deep red Kansas. He lost to that. Laura Kelly. He lost to Laura Kelly. So if they nominate him, it's a nightmare scenario. Alabama and Kansas are nightmare scenarios. Those are like something you would never think you hear. That Alabama and Kansas, the two candidates that could win, are nightmare scenarios. It's like me saying that Kansas, but it's like me saying New York and California, the two candidates there, are Democrats with nightmare. You see, that's kind of stupid when you think about it, you know? But anyway, let's go Democrat primary. You know, the race is still too early to say, but two candidates have joined in. Nancy Boyder, the former U.S. representative for the 2nd Congressional District in Kansas, and Barry Grissom, who was a former U.S. Attorney for the District of Kansas. Now, potentials could be Barbara Boyer, State Senator Sharice Davis, the freshman incumbent for Kansas 3rd Congressional District, Paul Davis, who's the former minority leader of the Kansas House of Representatives, who ran in 2014, who's number James Thompson, 2018, because Mike Pompeo represented that district. Of course, he resigned to become Secretary of, what was he before Secretary of State? I think he had the CIA, to be honest with you. I'm not sure. But anyway, declined Kathleen Sebelius and John Savali. Now, honestly, I think Kathleen Sebelius would have been a good pick. Now, you wonder, okay, am I paying attention to Chris Kobach's nominee, right? No. Because Chris Kobach probably, okay, what's the big deal? The big deal is Kansas has now elected a Democrat since 1932. Yeah. Since an 80-something-year-old let's move on to Kentucky. Yeah, Chris Kobach and Roy Moore, basically Democrats' hopes and Republicans' cancer. Because frankly, those two are the cancer on the party, and they'll probably hurt their them. Now, we all see Kansas. Frankly, Kansas has the two worst senators in the country. Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul. Mitch McConnell, because he's Senate Majority Leader, can block any legislation, even when they're widely popular among the American electorate. and Rand Paul, who, as we saw, recently voted funding, against permanently funding the 9/11 Victims Fund. Why the hell he would do that, God only knows. But frankly, I hope he goes to hell. Anyway, now we know Mitch McConnell's going to win his primary, but let's look at the Democratic primary. Names we all know, like instantly Amy McGrath, who was the nominee for for Kentucky's 6th Congressional District in 2018 and former Lieutenant Colonel in the U.S. Marine Corps. Now, Kentucky's 6th Congressional District includes Lexington, which is a demo, which because as we know, urban seats usually are very Democratic. But she also has a challenge from Mike Broyher, who I saw, former and former Marine too. I saw and I looked at his video. I think, probably one of the most legitimate candidates. I'm one of Democrats' most biggest struggles. Like every Democrat has dreamed of taking down Mitch McConnell. Every Democrat has. Anyway, there are several races, like for instance, Rocky Atkins, who's a minority leader in the states in Kentucky's House of Representatives, who was a candidate for governor this year, as they hold elections this November in Kentucky, Mississippi, and Louisiana all elect governors this year. Jack Conway, who was nominated for governor in 2015. I'm looking at the Democrat side, folks. Jack Conway. Adam Edelin, who was a candidate for governor in 2019. Greg Fisher, mayor of Louisville. Jim Gray, who was former mayor of Lexington, who ran the 6th district, lost, nominated for the Senate in 2016. Alison Grimes, who we all saw, who potentially had a chance against Mitch McConnell, but frankly, at the end of the day, due to Obama's unpopularity, and we all saw how 2014 with the Democrats, they lost control of the House. They all had lost control of the House. But I meant they had lost control of the Senate. A bad night. Bad night. Matt Jones, the attorney, media personality, and restaurateur, and Ashley Judd, actor. Emma McGrath already has gotten endorsements from several U.S. senators, from about maybe from 9 U.S. representatives, and 9 senators, 6 of them being current presidential candidates, 3 U.S. representatives, 2 who were John Dillon, who's a candidate, 2 of whom John Dillon, who is currently a candidate, and Eric Swalwell, who dropped out, either ran or are running for president. 2 governors, both who are currently running for president. A state legislature in the name of Richard Ojeda, Renee Abujonois, who played the chief of staff from Benson the Old Show. You can find on 10 TV if they have in your area. I think they should. Anyway, Pete Buttigieg, who is mayor of South Bend and who is the 2020 presidential candidate. These like the presidential candidates. General election polling. Let's look at the polling. Mitch McConnell versus. That's not the polling I'm looking for, but you get my drift. Oh, Louisiana. Damn, that's a tough one. We don't have enough information on Louisiana. I don't know why I picked it. Probably because their vote registration statistics are accurate. The ones I have said from January 1st, 1900 to present day. That means like a bunch of, that's not current to me. That's like from 1900. Like, how the hell you even have those numbers from 1900? Now, Maine, we all know this one. Now, Maine, Susan Collins, we don't know if she's even gonna run. Because her popularity is explosion. Because frankly, Susan Collins has thanks to Susan Collins vote to confirmed Brett Kavanaugh, her popularity had gone down the drain. Oh yeah, and by the way, I forgot to tell you about Kentucky. Mitch McConnell is in the toughest race of his life so far because guess what? His popularity is so low because he has a 33% approval rate. Just okay, so what can I say there's a problem? That changes your mind when half of the people that was polled by Morning Consult, who they since they released quarterly approval ratings of each U.S. senator, his numbers are down the drain. Like he has 50% disapproval. Half of the electorate disapproved of him. That's what makes it so different. Now, Susan Collins, she's got an adjustment from Joe Manchin. What the hell is wrong with him? Anyway, Paul LePage, former governor of Maine, who very unpopular, wanting to prevent the use of the birth of the alternate the ranked choice voting initiative. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, we know that the declared candidates are Sarah Gideon, who is current Speaker of the House in Maine, and Bessie Sweet, who is who was former director of the Maine Women Lobby, and was candidate for governor in 2018. People who have expressed interest are Matthew Dunlap, who is currently the Secretary of State of Maine, and who was a candidate for the Senate in 2012, and Rosa Scarcelli, who was a businesswoman and candidate for governor in Maine in 2010. And potentials are like Sheena Bellows, who's a member of the Maine Senate, Emily Kane, who is executive director of Emily List, which helps fund women's bids in the Senate House or whatever have you. Adam Cote, who's a candidate for John Mills, who's currently the governor of Maine. Shelley Pingree, who's the current Keisha Richards. Now, blah 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 blah. Michigan, you probably think that. Yeah, you probably think, oh, Kim, what's so big about this? Here's the thing. The one thing Gary Peters has that's not going for him is name recognition. He's not well known in the state. In fact, about a third of the population has an undecided view of him. Probably not many people in the state know who he is. They know who Gary Stabenow is. Granted, but the fact that he unknown in the oxygen, and I can see why. I mean, I haven't researched one piece of legislation that this guy has written or sponsored. Now, John James has already gotten several endorsements, who, as we know, ran against Debbie Stabenow. That race was the closest Michigan has ever seen in the Senate since 2000, when Debbie Stabenow knocked the incumbent senator at the time. Now, in polling with John James, Gary Peters is leading as of March 7th through 10th, 2019, but only by 1 point. In fact, in my prediction, I actually made a prediction about this. I say that the race is probably going to be decided by a couple thousand votes, like maybe I say 7 to 12,000 votes. That's how close I think the race will be, but we shall see. And that's about it so far. I would do more, but my grandfather's coming home recording, so I'm going to make a part 2 of this later on. So, yeah, I think that Scott reporting live in his makeshift studio in his grandfather's bedroom. This is Cameron Scott, signing off.